This video is going to cover how to add an employee in Microsale. First thing we're going to do is go ahead and log in to our manager menu. We're going to go to employee maintenance and then employee maintenance. So this is the field where you would add a new employee. You're going to need to put in a last name. So we'll just do Smith and first name John. Whoops, not the right way to spell John. We're going to put in an employee ID that's unique for this employee. And I usually just set up the same exact access number as the employee ID. But if you have a unique employee ID from your payroll company or something like that, that's where you'd put that there. That's not really the login ID. That's actually just an employee ID that can be used internally for, like I said, payroll if you use ADP or Paychex or something like that. The primary access level, or access number I should say, is the number that's used to log into the system. So I'm going to just make that the same. Like I said, if it doesn't matter to you and you don't have an employee ID from your payroll company, go ahead and just use the same number. We have to set a base access level here. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and just say that this is a server. And you can actually set a secondary access number if you want to here. This field is also useful for using magnetic stripe cards if they're going to be issued to employees to log in. Instead of using a PIN code, you can simply swipe a card. So if you have employee access cards, you would click on this field and you would swipe the card through your magnetic stripe reader, and that would put the number in here from that card, and then from then on out, your employees can clock in and clock out and access the system using the card instead of the access number. But you would have to have a primary and a secondary access number if you're going to use magnetic stripe cards. Next step we're going to do is go ahead and select the job title. In this case, we're going to just do the same thing, server, and we're going to set the pay rate at $10 an hour. And servers typically are tipped and they're eligible to receive overtime for a day if they work over 8 hours in a shift. So we're going to check all these off. And that's basically it. We're going to go ahead and you can also set up a nickname, by the way. I should mention that up here. If John Smith doesn't want his last name mentioned, he can just put in Johnny. That way that's what prints on the receipts. We're going to hit save. And that's all there is to it. Now, John would show up in here under your list of employees. You can drop it down and find him here. You can also go down and you can change employees at the current employee screen down here. I'm going to go ahead and go back to John Smith and show one other last thing in here. If for some reason you need to change the names in the future, you can always click the button that says change employee name right here, and this is where you would do that. So we can change the name to Sally Smith if we want to. Not Sally Sith, Sally Smith. And click change name. It'll ask you if you want to, say yes, and that's it. Now, John has become Sally. It's the day and age we live in. Go ahead and click save and exit. That's all there is to adding a new employee within Microsale.